أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Digital education is the new form of education and communication. It has come to a point where we cannot function without the internet. Digital innovations have impacted every aspect of our lives and have become so ubiquitous that we hardly notice their impact. Education is no exception, as technology plays an ever more important role in schooling. Our educational pioneers are changing how teachers teach and students learn as they embrace digital innovations. What we see today can be referred to as an educational revolution, as we find ourselves treading on the path of digital innovations almost on a daily basis in our lives. Muslim Kids TV thought it beneficial to see how our global pioneers in education and Islamic learning take the lead. What makes things click in the education industry? To shed light on this topic, we have with us most respected Mr. Adam Mostar, who is the principal of Al-Hamra Integrated School, Kota Damansara, providing strategic guidance and vision in bringing Quran and Hadith, as well as the sciences into post-pandemic rapidly technological world. He has rendered valuable service and conducted teacher training for the international and government schools and universities such as Idrisi International School, Khalifa Model School, the Royal Buddhist School, Bangkok, as well as numerous public schools throughout Malaysia and Thailand. To his credit, he is the owner and was the principal of the Quran and Sunnah NGO of Selangor, Malaysia for 6 years. This is a fully functional 250 student boarding, Quran memorization and IGCSE academic school, while also having assisted in the graduation of 550 Hufaz since 2016 from Uzbekistan, Bangladesh, Thailand, and of course, Malaysia. He has been part of running food drive campaigns during the pandemic for free cooked meals delivered to hundreds of underprivileged households called the Let's Feed Them All campaign, as well as taking several orphanages under its wing and trying to raise money to educate and feed them in a better way. His achievements in professional sector also deserve a fair mention as instructor and trainer in the Callan method of language learning, which is basically a system that teaches learners to speak English 4 times faster using the FAST approach, fluency, accuracy, speed, and technology, and is now in over 80 centers throughout the world with a money-back guarantee. Mr. Adam has a coveted 4 years experience in the USA Army, stationed in Fort Worth, Texas, and the Middle East as an artillery officer, where the invaluable training leveled up in terms of upgrading communications, leadership, teamwork, and creative skills. The holder of a bachelor degree in chemistry, he has served 5 years in the US Army Fort Sill, Oklahoma, as a non-commissioned officer in a training unit. The author of the only halal IGCSE English syllabus course book, Dare to Conquer English, currently being used in Islamic international schools. He is also the ghostwriter of the Millennial Guide to Doing Business Right. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. I'm so excited and humbled to have you with us, Mr. Adam Mostar, our esteemed guest for the day. That is quite a resume you've got going over there. How are you doing today, sir?
Alhamdulillah, I'm okay. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, good. My name is Reza Rahmat Shah, and let me begin today's discussion with hadith, which reminds us of the beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the importance of acquiring beneficial knowledge. When it comes to acquiring knowledge, our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a role model that many people look up to. Islam is one of the fastest growing religions in the world, As such, there is an increasing need for qualified educators who can teach Islam to people of all backgrounds. What has inspired you to become a global educator in Islam? And how do you integrate global perspectives into your curriculum?
Bismillah, let me thank you for inviting me to this interview. I hope I can answer all your questions the best way possible. I think like maybe 15, 18 years ago, there wasn't much internet. The world wasn't really wired. If you wanted to know about Islam, you would have to go to a very Islamic place. You would have to go get books, or you would have to find somebody in your local mosque that knew someone else that knew someone else. So for example, if you want to learn really good Arabic, or if you want to learn Arabic really well, you would have to go to maybe Egypt, Saudi, Qatar, or Mauritania, or Algeria. And if you want to know about Islam, especially now, if you were a revert or something, you would have to go find somebody because you would have to start from basics. Since the internet started really spreading out, and I don't think this happened until about just recently. I think 2007, 2008, even 2003, it wasn't that much. I mean, there was, of course, Facebook and all that, but people weren't really using it. They didn't know how to use it, really. But now, there's tons of information. The amount of information that you can get in 5 minutes is probably more than a person could get 50 years ago. If they lived 50 years ago, in 10 years, they would have to get that information in 10 years. But there's a problem with all that information. There's so much information that you don't know what's correct, what's good, what should I follow? People get confused easily. And on the other hand, we see a large section of the Muslim population everywhere, which is like the growing middle class. So they've got more money and they're beginning to use more English. The more rich, it seems like the more richer you get, the more English you use. It seems what we can see is that a lot of information about Islam online is in English, because English is the major language of the internet right now, whether we like it or not. Back then, maybe even as far as 2005, you couldn't find really a lot of Sahih Bukhari in PDF because it wasn't translated yet. It was still in Arabic. But now you can get Riyadh al-Salihin, Kitab al-Tawheed, everything. You can get almost everything has already been translated into even Mandarin right now. So there's a growing number of people that, parents, that they grew up in that era where the internet was beginning, and now they have kids who are so much faster with the internet. I see that there's a lack of comprehensive education that combines, I want them to know about Islam. I want them to apply it in their life. I want them to read the Quran very well. But I also want them to succeed I want them to be a doctor, I want them to be an engineer. I want them to go through the sciences, I want them to succeed. Why can't I do that? I mean, why can't I succeed this life and the next? I mean, that's the door, right? Give me good in this life and the next. Not just give me good in the next life, because then your life here will be severely difficult. So when we go to these schools, and then suddenly, if you see back maybe 10 years ago, everywhere, they started all these schools, Islamic schools. Dubai, UAE, Saudi, Canada, all these schools just boom. It was the boom time. It's still the boom time. Because these new generation from the 90s and 80s, they started getting married. Those generation that was born in the 90s, they started getting married. They started having children. And they didn't experience much of the internet, but now their kids did. They're getting more intelligent. They're getting more critical of, if I send them to this school, what can the school teach? Is this the correct way? Is it the correct way? Is this Islam the way they teach? Is it correct? When they say they teach Quran, is it really they teach Quran? When the school claims to, we make hufaz, is it just claiming? Because of course, these things, as we know, unfortunately, their schools are also businesses. So when I went around these schools, I was actually doing improving factories. I was actually improving businesses like Toyota, IBM, Hewlett Packard. I was improving their productivity and decreasing their cost of errors so that they made more profit. And then I thought, how can I apply this into a school system where everything that you learn is something that you apply in your life? Because if you don't apply that thing that you learn, you actually haven't learned it. You just memorized it. So people will confuse between memorizing something and actually learning it, because it's actually two completely different things. When you memorize a surah, small surah, but you don't know what it means, and then how can you use it in your life if you don't know what it means? So I thought I used the experience that I had in productivity management in factories and in the army. I use that. I try to put it into schools. I try to put it into school systems. So if you're learning, like for example, I give you, if we learn Quran here, like memorize one surah. We memorize 5 ayah. We memorize it by reading, by looking, and then by writing it many times. And then afterwards, we have to explain to the ustaz what those ayah mean, using, it's like a graphic representation. We draw, and then we explain, like a mind map. So we explain back to the ustaz. If we learn a hadith, we learn it in Arabic and English with the isnad, and then we tell the ustaz, how am I going to use this? If you can't use something, then it's useless. So I felt like a lot of the stuff that they're trying to do, you're trying to marry two different systems. The system of the dunya, which is kind of like IGCC, and you're trying to also do simultaneously Quran and Sunnah at the same time. And people think, can we do this? Can we do two things? Yeah, you can. Why can't you do it? You can do it. It's been done.
Mashallah, mashallah. That is very interesting, concept in terms of marrying those two school of thoughts, right? And also, I like the fact that you actually trying to applying whatever the schools, methods that you teach in the schools and applying in the life. I think that is actually awesome concept in trying to teach in the schools. We know for a fact that the high quality educators are hard to come by these days. It's a real challenge to find one who meets all of your needs and expectations. Mr. Adam, for a long period, you work as an educator. What are distinct challenges and rewards of teaching Islam in Malaysia?
So I think the challenges in Malaysia are the same as the challenges you would find maybe even in, like, let's say Indonesia, or let's say Philippines, Islamic school in Philippines, or an Islamic school in Jakarta, or an Islamic school in Australia or Canada. It would be quite the same. Distinguishing local customs and traditions, or ethnic customs and traditions, from actually what is Islam. And there's a way to do that, because if I just said that's the problem, then you would say, what's the solution? Islam is an evidence-based religion. I mean, everything that we quote, if we say Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said this and he did this a certain way, then we need to give the reference. Like a simple thing, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, do not eat from the left hand or drink from the left hand. It's not a recommendation, actually. Do not eat does not mean it's better to. If he said it's better to, that's a recommendation. If he said do not, that means it's forbidden. And things that are forbidden belong in hell. I mean, it's a very simple thing. And like traditions are built in through generations, and it's a kind of social engineering. So when we have children that come from different backgrounds, and they could be reverts from revert parents, they could be from Caucasian parents, it doesn't matter the ethnicity, or Asian parents, they're all now in one school. And of course, like you said, there's different global perspectives. There's global perspectives from his ethnicity as well. There's global perspectives from the country that he came from. But we all go back. If we have a source, what is the precedent the preceding rules that whereby you judge what is correct and what is not. Because everyone will have their own version of Islam, and that's not correct. Whatever hadith we give, whatever we teach in Islam, back it up. You say, children, you got to eat with your right hand, and then show the reference. We show on the PowerPoint, by the way, in this Sahih Bukhari number, this is the number, this is the isnad. Go check it yourself. So it's not Islam according to Adam Mostar. It should be Islam according to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's understanding of it. Once you give the reference, it's like, okay, well, I can't argue with him. And then, of course, when you say what are the challenges, wow, with the internet and the phone, you understand. I think some of you are parents. A lot of parents are probably watching this, and they're like, I've seen a baby who's 6 months with the phone, and that baby knows how to go to, can't even talk, but the baby knows how to go to YouTube. I don't even know how that's possible. So there's all kinds of stuff that they watch on TikTok. If you don't take care of what your children are watching, they'll watch anything. It's just like eating. If you ask your kid, what do you want to eat? He'll never eat vegetables. He will eat candy. That's how he will live. He will live for years with just eating candy and McDonald's. So you have to really be careful what you watch on YouTube, giving them the phone, Instagram, TikTok. There's a lot of stuff there that they don't need to be looking at it. Or if they do look at it, you need to tell them like, you need to tell them or give them a choice that don't do this.
I think I shared that lessons as well. I myself as parents, right, with 3 daughters, the amount of consumptions of media, like in this case, like social media, is just so appalling in the sense that you need to be able to control. But how do you control, right? How do you control? How do you manage? Or what kind of a contents that they need to consume? So because most of the time, some of the contents, like you pointed out about this, 6 months, babies, is just so detrimental to development of their both physical, spiritual, and emotional part of it, right? MashaAllah. Malaysia is so blessed to have such a diverse culture. How does Islamic education from an early age help promote understanding and tolerance between different cultures and religion? What are your future goals for promoting understanding and respect for Islam through education?
What hasn't been done so far is all around schools. What I see is when they teach about Islam, they only teach about that thing. So they don't teach about what do Jews believe in, what do polytheistic religions teach in, what are their pillars. It's like this: if you teach about what is black, then you need to teach about what is white, because black cannot exist without white. The difference in the color is because there's different colors. That's how you identify different colors. If there is only one color, then you will not know what colors are. It makes sense, right? So, but what I see is that there's a lot of misinformation with Muslim children, not just about Islam itself, but even the Islam that they're taught it needs to be improved, the way they're taught Islam. And I think that their knowledge of other religions is almost, I don't think it's even 5%. If you ask the average Muslim kid, his understanding of Christianity will be from movies, TikTok, YouTube videos or something. It won't be like he went and purposely learned what is Christianity, what is Judaism. They don't do that. They'll just take assumptions from what they got from movies and videos. And that's actually quite dangerous. And I've seen it firsthand, because if you don't tell them about those other religions with the evidence, what happens is I've seen people graduate high school and then they go out, and then for the first time they'll go to a university where they'll meet all kinds of other religions, because maybe they came from an Islamic school, but they won't go to an Islamic university. They'll go to an engineering or medical, and there'll be different faiths over there, or they'll go to another country. And that's the first time they'll meet somebody from somewhere else. And then they'll be like, wow, I thought that it was, they told me to hate, and that's when they fall off, because they think, then they'll think that all the time I was in Islamic school, I was fed lies about other religions. Maybe even the things that I know about Islam, maybe that's a lie too. Oh, so then they're like, these people are telling the truth. And so, yeah, you need to tell them about it as soon as possible. Because there has to be a differentiation between the different faiths, but just let them know. I think a lot of people, a lot of parents, they're hesitant because they think if we tell him about other religions, what happens? Maybe he might get interested. Maybe he or she, my kid might, oh, I don't want him to be a murtad, or, oh, he's so interested in, example, Christianity. Oh, then, but you know that Allah is the turner of hearts, not you. Allah is the guider, not you. You show the way, but it's up to them. Everything is decreed and it's up to them. For me, showing a 5-year-old and above, it should start after the age of 4 or 5, basic things. They should know basic things about every religion, and it should go in steps from there. Because this is ignorance, not to know about the other people that live in your own country. What are they doing? When they approach you, your neighbor who's not a Muslim, when the neighbor's kids invite you over and they have things that you're not supposed to eat or not supposed to do, what do you tell them? There's too much hostility also, because I think when you don't understand something, you start to hate it. And also, how do you spread Islam if you don't understand that other person's perspective? You cannot spread because you're an ambassador. Allah said that mankind were ambassadors of Islam. So of course you have to understand there's other people that live here. Unless you live in a 99% majority Muslim country, and I don't think there's many countries left like that. So we live in a community. If the parents don't do it, it's fine. The school should do it. It's just purely, it's like an academic subject. By the way, you should know at least 50 things about Christianity and about 50 things about other religions. Basic facts, things like that.
MashaAllah, I think this is very, very interesting. Promoting the understanding other religions to such a young age, right? Because sometimes we as a parents, we ourselves, we are really kind of like shutting door in terms of trying to understand other religions. So by getting this, promoting the diversity and also the knowledge of other religions is also important, right? So they can understand Islam well, put place in the society. I think, mashallah, this is very, very interesting, concept. The technology is making it easier for the average kids to learn online. Has Al Amra International School made a foray into digital learning? If so, in what way? If this is not the case, can you please tell me about any difficulties you may face when teaching online? How would you go about overcoming such obstacles?
Yeah, I think since the pandemic, everything that's internet-based and online-based, it went very, 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 it had to be improved very, very fast. I think if there was no pandemic, we would still be like, okay, since the pandemic is not, schools shut down. A lot of schools completely shut down and they went completely online. And now parents, they thought, hey, we're paying so much money for like physical schools, but we could do online. So of course, like we do the usual, like whatever other schools were doing during the pandemic. For example, a lot of schools use Google Classroom, but we use Microsoft 365 here. We also have the usual apps, which we communicate with to parents like School to Me or Hello. That's an app. Basically, we load homework on it. Parents see what homework scores, marks, and of course we do Microsoft. Every person in the school, every student has their own email, which we made, and we have our online classes, etc. That being said, in the beginning, everyone thought online classes are so awesome. And that the government was like, yes, no problem, just do online class. Oh, what's the big deal? But of course, you understand, if you are a 7-year-old and your mom and dad have to go work, or you're 9 or whatever age you are you really gonna look in the thing? He's like, because your face is gonna be there. The teacher's like, oh, he's paying it. No, he's not. He's on YouTube. He's got his headphone in. He's just nodding his head. And actually, he's watched 3-4 movies. He's probably playing games. And I think some of them even, they took a picture of themselves or a video of themselves looking at the camera, and then they played it during the class, and they're not even there. They use their face like doing this, and then they just played it. They just play. I asked them, like, teach me how to do this. Instead of, like, punishing them, teach me how to do this. I want to know how to do this. It's very smart, like the background, and he filmed himself coming in to the room while he was sitting there. In and out, in and out. And of course, it's very difficult because some people have bad internet connections. The same as in every country. Internet connection not good. I can't hear you. Oh, I went offline. Hello, can you hear me? That guy is playing. I don't know. Someone's parent is walking into the room, in and out. They're screaming and shouting. School was never meant to be like this. It's like, if you wanted to do online, there needs to be a way, a methodology to it. People think it's easy because you're sitting down in front of it. It's actually more stressful because you have to be very, very entertaining. Because, I mean, look at us right now. I could be on YouTube on the side right now. So imagine if I was a student, I would be pretending to pay attention to the boring teacher. But I know you can't even see my fingers. I just go like, click something, and I'll be watching it from this way. And kids are very, very distracted. They have attention span of like 10 seconds maybe. That being said, we should use technology because there's no way you can compete with technology. Because when they go home, they have TikTok, they have all that stuff that's way more interesting than school. So why not bring, for example, Roblox? Why not bring the sandbox metaverse universe into this classroom and teach them? For example, chemistry, the periodic table. A lot of these kids their age, they love Roblox and Minecraft. There's a way you can teach the periodic table and chemistry using Roblox and Minecraft. You can stack up the bricks, and then you put all the elements on them, and then you move them around. Why are we afraid of? Because the more we're afraid of it, the more it will come, the more it will become deeper and deeper into their life. And they will say that these guys were teachers, they're old. They're from the time when there was no internet. They don't know what we're talking about. The internet is so much fun. So instead, we do the opposite. We bring the internet so deep into the classroom that they're like, wow, like even they don't know that. So there's a way you can bring Sandbox into the class. There's a way you can bring the metaverse and all this stuff into the class. Online class is not even it's not even harnessing anything. It's just a camera, a PC. The real way to teach is, if you really want to use tech, bring Roblox, bring Minecraft, and teach maths to 8-year-olds using Minecraft. And everyone has their own laptop, and you do speed tests. And things like that. Give a question, an equation, and everybody has their laptop, and they're gonna give the answer using Minecraft. You arrange the blocks so that they come up with the equation like that. So inshallah, we actually do want to do that. We have plans to do. We can't do it in the middle of the year because this year is ending. We plan to do that as soon as possible, along with esports. I think I just want to say something about that, because Everywhere you go, you see everyone's doing football, basketball, usually your archery and everything else. But no, I don't think there's a school, even non-Muslim, that's doing esports as an extracurricular activity. So esports, we will do things that are 3-minute online game, fight against each other, high paced. It could be FIFA, Need for Speed, or even GTA. So they're like, wow, this school is better than my house. Because right now, who can compete with their bedroom, which has the PC and laptop in it? But if they come here, we need to compete with it. So I come to school, I compete with my friends, even if it's for 10 minutes. I compete with my friends on a FIFA thing. And then I have to explain to the teacher what my strategy was, or how I lost and if I won. There's absolutely, why can't we use those games? It's just that teachers need to be very creative. You need to be very creative in figuring out, how do I use current technology and turn it into a game? It's like gamifying. I don't know if this is too much, but it's like gamifying education. Turn everything into a game. And can it be done? People are like, can it be done? No, it has to be done. There's no way you can't do it now. Because in a few years, people will like, even school, do you think that school, it might even become obsolete? The whole concept of school might become obsolete. Just like cars with an engine that you put petrol in. I think the next generation will think that petrol is ridiculous. Everyone should use electric. And it will become normal. And what will become weird is people using engines with petrol. So I think about it. Everything in the world has improved except school. We're still using the same chair, ruler, eraser, pencil, same book. Nothing has changed except the blackboard. The blackboard became a whiteboard. And we use marker instead of a chalk. But we haven't brought technology deep into the class yet. We haven't brought sandbox, metaverse. If you talk like this to people look at you like, are you crazy? Like, is this halal? I mean, what do you mean halal? It's just sandbox. It's just metaverse. There's nothing on Minecraft that's weird. That's, like everything on Minecraft's halal, unless you make something. Unless you make some character that's wearing something and you put it in. No, you can't. We don't do that. So some of the ideas, people think, wow, this guy's like 20. This is only 2022, not 2032. But you need to start thinking like it's 2032. Because if you don't, it will be 2032 and you'll be still stuck in 2022. When I mean internet and tech, I don't mean they sit at home. They have, that's just crazy. They have to come to school, but we're just using the technology in the classroom.
MashaAllah, I think this is a very, very interesting, concept in terms of how do you go about the digital learnings and putting in the classroom and putting some, interesting stuff like, Roblox, Minecraft, esports. I mean, the kids loves to compete, right? They just want to they want to be better than the rest of the class. So I think that's a very interesting concept. We have to take a break. We're going to keep this engaging conversation going. We're going to take a short 3 minutes break and we'll come back and keep this conversation moving ahead.
Unlock the love of Islam in your children and open their imagination and hearts. Muslim Kids TV brings together thousands of the best animations, videos, games, ebooks, and Islamic resources for you and your family.
I am a Muslim. I am a Muslim. Let's go. I am a Muslim. Look at me. I am kind.
Enjoy the best Islamic children's animations and videos exclusively on www.muslimkids.tv.
I am a Muslim. Look at me. I am a Muslim. I am a Muslim. I am a Muslim. I am a Muslim.
Stimulate your child's learning with the largest collection of Islamic-themed video games. thousands of ebooks celebrating the Islamic history, culture, and values.
Thank you, Allah, for this blessed day. Eidun Sa'idun, Yawmun Farhanun, Yawmun
Unleash your child's creativity through endless hours of to-do-it-yourself activities.
Jamilun, Yawmun Farhanun, Eidun Sa'id, all over the world. And there's people say
Keep the Quran close to their hearts with our special Quran app.
it's a time of brotherhood, a time of peace. Muslims are singing praises to Allah, Allahu Akbar, Allah.
Muslim Kids TV is developed by leading educators and supervised by a community of religious scholars from around the world.
Al-Fitr, can you think of anything neater than parties in the streets, hugging friends and so much to eat? The food's much sweeter, gather round let us complete it.
Loved by families, educators, and especially children.
Come celebrate Eid with me. It's time to have a big party. Wear nice clothes and eat some.
Muslim Kids TV is available where you want it and when. Enjoyed on mobile, web, and on leading smart TV brands.
Muslim, look at me. I am a Muslim.
Your whole family can watch anytime, anywhere.
I am a Muslim. I am a Muslim. Oh, I am a Muslim.
Muslim Kids TV, building a better Muslim generation.
A negative byproduct of digital technology is that kids are more easily influenced than ever. This is, as you pointed out just now in your statement earlier. Now, when they leave school, they can be exposed to a harmful or inappropriate content online. In that context, how can educators ensure kids are not negatively affected by digital technology?
I've actually been to many different conferences where the same question was asked. And I got a lot of, maybe the people there were not very tech savvy or something. They usually will tell you, well, don't give it to him. Just don't give him the laptop. Don't not give him the phone. Don't give him laptop or something like that. But it's just like, that's not very realistic, because sooner or later, he's going to need a laptop to do something. Even if you don't give it to him, sooner or later, he has to go, he will finish university, and it will look like he just came from someplace like a farm. And so imagine you were never exposed to anything, and then suddenly you got everything in front of you. You will want to experience all of that. I'll give an example that's really good though. I have a parent that they have 5 kids. And this parent, in the beginning, he struggled with it, like just cut off their internet and no, you can't do anything, but it's not realistic. So there's certain software that the parent actually needs to know. And you can just go to any store and they'll tell you. It's not security update software. It's a certain software that you can, and it's not expensive. You can put it on your phone and you can put it on your laptop. Your child will have access to YouTube, but he cannot access anything that is parent guided. He needs, if there's anything that's parent guided, he won't be able to even see it. So if he puts certain keywords into YouTube, it will not go there. It will suddenly become a screen where it says, consent needed, this is a blocker. Everything that the kid is searching, all the cookies, the website history is automatically sent to the parent's laptop and phone. So no matter what the kid is looking at, and it's not like he can look at it and then he'll go like, I'll just go and then I'll just click delete web search history. No, it happens at the same simultaneously. So if the kid is searching things he's not supposed to search, it's usually a boy, and we know what you mean. So it will go immediately to the phone. There will be an alert on the phone, and it'll say, this guy he's searching. He searched for this just a few minutes ago. These are the things that he searched for. And that actually you can work it on, you can put that same blocker software. I'm not sure what the name is, but there's different versions of it. It's not expensive. You pay it and you download it. You can put that on your Instagram, you can put it on your phone. So give him the phone. Yeah, give him the phone. Give him the laptop. And go search whatever you like. Oh, I need to search about zebras or osmosis photosynthesis for my class, and I'm 10 years old or 12. Now you don't need to go to these funny websites to see bad stuff. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube. Just on the main YouTube, you can see women wearing whatever they want, doing whatever they like. It's no longer, it's not a big thing now. Maybe before they used to block stuff like that. No, they didn't even bother doing that. You don't need to go to a special website to look at stuff. YouTube already has that. TikTok has tons of stuff. So unfortunately, if parents, I mean, it's your child. It's not the school's primary responsibility, because the child spends a lot of time at home over the weekend, unsupervised. At least here we can supervise. They need to know, if they spend like an hour or two on Google, they will know specific software that can be downloaded, installed into the kid's computer, because usually you need to have a Google user account to search, with Chrome and everything. So that software helps you do that. Use the technology. You can't physically stand there and wait and like sit with them for 3 hours every day, every minute, to watch what he's doing. Let the computer do it. So if he's really, using the computer for work or research, let him. That's what the computer is for. With the phone, a bit different though, because technically, do you really need a phone? If you want to search something, you would use a laptop, not the phone, right? I mean, because you want a big screen, you want to see. If you're using the phone, that means you're using TikTok. You want to go to TikTok, you want to go to Instagram, and you want to DM somebody, and it's usually another girl or a boy in your class, because you found out, hey, what's your DM? And what's your Instagram profile? And like, okay, then DM, and that's how it starts. And it started like this in many schools. It started with DMs. There's 3 faces that every kid has. The face, their real face, and then the other face is the face they show to their friends, and the third face is the face that they show to their parents. And we know this because once upon a time, we were kids too. So I recommend put that software in, and then you'll be happy. And then you'll be like, okay, I can sleep. I have a good night's sleep, because I don't know, care what he's doing now. You can learn about dinosaurs. You want to watch dinosaurs for 3 hours? Go ahead. I'll be the opposite of what other people will say, because other people say, no, don't give it to him. Make him play football. When he comes back, make him go outside and ride a bicycle. But that's not realistic, especially in Malaysia, where it's hot, humid, raining most of the time, and people live in condos and houses that there's no facilities. So he was going to sit in his room. If you don't give it I tell you, if you don't give it to him, and I've seen this, they will go to their friend's house sooner or later, and they will say, I'm going to play football with my friend. And then they'll go to their house, and they will use his phone. They will use his phone to Instagram whoever they want. So instead of fighting technology, why not use technology to benefit us? That should be logical. Inshallah, I hope that's a good answer.
Mashallah. There's this really, constant battle for every parents, right? And to your point, it's not every parents, understand about the technology, and what you said about, installing the so-called the parental, blocker to block all those, in an inappropriate, contents that will do, sufficiently to make, the parents have a peace of mind, right? There are so many success stories that came from hard work. No one ever became successful without putting in the effort first. Your success stories inspire all of us. Can you share with us your success stories, both professional and personal life, and help us celebrate your accomplishments by sharing your stories with the world?
Inshallah. I think the product of like a phone company is a very, very good phone, like Apple 14, etc., etc. So the product of schools is the student themselves. One of my students, he comes from a minority Muslim country, Philippines, in Makati province, I think, which is quite heavily, a lot of wars going on there. His parents, of course, they struggled to send him all the way to Malaysia. Our method of teaching is in English. We do not use the local language, so we can accept people from, Al-Hamra can accept people from all over the world. So we teach Quran and Sunnah in English. It's not just like we prefer English because English is superior. It just happens that everyone seems to speak English. So he memorized the Quran. It took him, I think, 5 years, the whole Quran. And he memorized maybe over 150 hadith with Arabic, in Arabic, with the isnad, in English, with explanations. His main purpose was he wanted to be both a doctor and to do da'wah. As you know, Philippines is a very good place for da'wah because the people seem to be quite acceptable, quite open. They're not hostile. So he has gone back, and this has been 2 years now, 3 years. And the last I heard that he has graduated, he is now in university, and he is continuing to do da'wah. He is, of course, when you come here for 6 years in a Muslim country and you learn so much, when you go back to your country, you, even though you're young, like 19 now, he's considered like an imam. He leads prayers, he leads tarawih, he teaches Quran to other people, even adults. And he teaches people how to distinguish between different hadith, for example, the weak hadith, the Hasan, the Sahih, etc., etc. We have other students from Malaysia who, one is now in Medina. He has reached Medina and he's graduating from high school in Medina. Inshallah, I think he will go to Al-Qura University or maybe even Medina University. His objective was to become a da'i. And that's what we did. I hope that the system that I created, where people memorize Quran better, or Arabic, speak Arabic better, or understand the Quran and understand Sunnah as well, I hope that helped in promoting that thing. Along with the other, I think there was about maybe 100, 200 students that graduated with full Quran, checked by the government. And they will go in turn to their parents, even their parents, and they will say, is this thing that you're doing, is it really correct? Do you think it's correct? Where did you learn this from? Did you learn this from your grandfather? Do you think that we should follow our grandfathers, or should we follow Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? What do you think? So we taught them a way that's not confrontational, because when you confront people, it doesn't work. Even though you're telling the truth, it doesn't work. So there's a way to confront. There's a way to tell people the truth. And that way has to be done in a very intelligent way. It cannot be seeing people at KFC eating with their left hand, and then you come and, hey, slap, what is this? Haram. You cannot be the haram police with flashing lights. Sit down and drink. People will hate you. And even though you're telling the truth, there'll be more drinking with their left hand. And now say, no, from now on, wallah. If you tell him even the hadith is, by the way, I wanted to tell you that it's recommended and even better to drink with the right hand instead of okay, nicely. So you have to develop that intelligence. That is knowing the facts is not enough to give dawah. How many people know the facts, but they don't give dawah? Because you need to have a certain emotional intelligence. and people will reject you as well. The most people who will reject you is probably other Muslims, not Christians, which is quite funny. You know this. So when you tell a Muslim who's been a Muslim for 25 years something, I don't want to listen to you. When you tell a non-Muslim something, is that really? Well, that's interesting. Tell me more. Why is that? Why do we have to sit down when we drink? Oh, because the stomach is like this. It's curved. So when you drink water, it goes straight out. Yeah. So I hope that answers the question.
I think this is really inspiring to me on a personal level. I studied in Makati, Philippines, so yeah, it's really a community where you can actually talk. You know, like what you mentioned just now. It does bring a lot of knowledge in that sense for that young particular gentleman, right? That goes back again after he studied for like 6 years. So I can imagine how he actually adapt with the new environment after you get so much knowledge about Islam. MashaAllah, that's really inspiring story. As we come to the conclusion of these discussions and very interesting discussions, what is one thing that educators all around the world can learn from you, Mr. Alam Mostar?
Don't be afraid of technology. Use it. Harness it. Like I said about the Roblox, Minecraft. Stop telling people, don't watch this, watch that. I've seen people like literally tell people, do not go to www.p something something. If you tell a kid, don't go to www.something.com, now that's stuck in his head, because now he's going to go, oh, and by the time he gets home, his fingers are like, oh, I need to type in this and see what it's about. So the old way of teaching back in the 80s and 90s, that doesn't work now. Where the teacher used to stand in front of the class with a blackboard, used to shout, lecture. We just listen or fall asleep and then we go. It doesn't work like that now. You need to be interactive, and harness technology is one of those points. That's one bullet point. Number two, the teacher's own understanding of Islam must be upgraded. The teacher's own understanding of Islam cannot be drinking with left hand, eating with left. You see it, then you stop it, then you go and advise them. And if you do not know the hadith, then you should learn the hadith. Even if it's just English, by the way, the Prophet Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, etc., etc., etc. This hadith, you can find it in this place. Okay, so they need to upgrade their way or their knowledge of correct Islamic content. As you can see, I said the word correct Islamic content, not just Islamic content. It has to be correct Islamic content with reference. I think number 4, the bullet point would be using emotional intelligence when teaching Islam, teaching them in a nice way, because too often you might see a lot of madrasas and Islamic schools. It's more of a preaching type of teaching, style. The style needs to change though. So now these kids are not the kids from the 90s. They're not us. They are like, I don't know how to say it, but it's different. The ways that worked on us did not work on them. We're in a different time. So just telling them like, this is haram, like, astaghfirullah, how could you do this? This is terrible. And what do you expect? As if you didn't do anything bad. As if we didn't do anything bad. We did worse. So you should say, there's a way to correct them. Kids above the age of 7, you need to be their friend. You need to be their coach. Below the age of 7, you can just, hey, do this, do that, do it now. But after the age of 7, you need to be their friend. You need to be their best friend. You need to be their best coach. They need to see that they need to follow you because they want to follow you. Ordering people around like the army, it doesn't work. Especially these kids, it doesn't work. Lastly, so I think we are using the dunya system like sciences, IGCSE, etc., etc. You can still teach bio, maths, and all that stuff. But you can actually teach it in a more Islamic way, actually. For example, when they talk about Darwin's theory of evolution in bio, you can teach it to them. Afterwards, you say, well, this is their version of the truth, and this is not the truth. This is their version of it. This is not our version of it. So, yeah. They need to also be interactive with the Islamic text. For example, if they're teaching about Khalid bin Walid, for example, usually if you see all the books about Sahaba, the English, I think you know this, the English is quite old. It's very lecture, sort of academic type of books about heroes of Islam, and no one writes books about Khalid bin Walid, and that's what I did. So I wrote all these, okay, the IGCC English syllabus. Do we have to learn about Mount Everest? Do we have to learn about Christina Aguilera? We don't need to know about Britney Spears. We don't need to know about this woman. But if we get something like Khalid bin Walid, it's going to be very thick. The English is going to be very academic, and it's going to be boring. It's going to be a factual. Then he went there. Then in this year, he did this and this and this. So I rewrote the biographies of, let's say, Khalid bin Walid, Julaybib, Abu Sufyan. I rewrote it in a way that as if I'm talking to a teenager. So I rewrote it in an exciting way, and I turned that into the IGCSE syllabus. So you still learn English, you still learn all these difficult words, make essays, but we don't need to learn, but the content is halal. Let's say I make the IGCSE English syllabus halal. I halalified it. So it's when you read it, it's like, wow, a teenager wrote this. Yeah, I mean, I wrote this for teenagers. So I wrote it in a way that's like a movie script. Yeah. So they were like, yeah, this is awesome. Oh, wow. Yeah. I think it's like what Muslim TV is trying to do. There was this video about a king, and then there's some treasure, and the way the characters are designed. You know, there's a certain way that Muslims design cartoon characters, like usually around, you know, like Upin, I think you know Upin, all these, you know, and it doesn't come across as mature. You can't get Upin Ipin to talk about Islam. If they suddenly start talking about Islam, you're like, what are you doing? Don't just go back to funny stuff. Don't talk about Islam. But the way Muslim TV has done it is, I don't know how to explain. It's like the architecture of the characters. When you make the lines sharp, the background drawing, because I draw a lot. So it has to be very visually striking. The script has to be engaging. Number two, it cannot be lecture-based, all these cartoons. I know it's animation, but it cannot be, but then again, it cannot be too animated, where it's just like bouncing up and down throughout the whole thing. Then it turns into Upin Ipin. This kind of content, the kind of content that like Muslim TV does, you don't really find it in other channels. Other channels, they will try to do content for kids, but it'll be sort of like not mature. They misunderstand that kids today who's 5 is a lot way mature than when we were 5 years old. When we were 5 years old, I think we were stupid. I think we were idiots compared to what the kids know about life. 8-year-old right now, he knows a lot about life. So I think what Muslim TV is doing is it's going in the right direction by it's not just like, oh, we have a cartoon series. No, it's not. It's not just that. There's a lot that goes into this stuff. The content, engaging visuals, even the speed by which the characters move, it can be too much. Like in Malay, they say sangat over. You want the kid to focus on the character, but also on the content, what the character is saying. So I saw that in that video, and I thought that is the kind of thing that we could use here.
Oh, mashallah. I think this is like all those, things like what you said, bullet points, right? These are actually all very relevant to the current, setting, the current challenges that we're facing. not only from the school perspective, but it's also from parents' perspective. I myself, like, I want to read this, Khalid bin Walid, comic or, series. So please do, send the PDF. Sometimes, as a parents, we also need to learn, the history of that, right? Thank you so much, Jazakallah khairan. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Mr. Adam Mostar. It's been an absolute honor being on the side and here. You share your views and opinions on what digitalized Islamic education holds for our children and the right prospects that you hold for the future role models of our community. We want to thank you from the bottom of our heart. The pleasure has been entirely us. In your hand, we rest assured that our kids are in excellent hands. Alhamdulillah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you and your family with excellent health, in halal wealth, and to cause all of you done to be for your entire family, for your time and an effort. And with this, we come to the end of an insightful meeting. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta subhanaka astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.